For this video, I'm going to talk about the pen and how to render it better, getting better results with the shading and coloring the outside to be a different color than the wooden inside. And we're going to go into more details. So the first thing we're going to do is kind of finalize the aesthetics of a model. So the process is you start with a model and then you refine the details and then you start assigning materials. You don't want to start assigning materials before you're actually finished with modeling everything. So as you see right now I'm under the default layer. So I'm going to finish up the actual model with rounded edges and just the final touches. And then I'll start assigning the different finishes, the different material to different layers, so it's easier to work with. So the first thing I'm going to do is select this thing here, which is a simple revolve, and I'm going to use that to trim, and I'm just typing it in, but you can also just go up here to the trim icon in this one, and we're going to use this surface, enter, to cut this surface. Okay, escape, and we'll do the same thing with this side. So now we have a nice rounded finish on the back. Now what would be really nice here too is rounding the outside hexagonal corners. So let's see if we can do that quickly and easily. Select the whole thing, join, and again I'm typing it in, but you don't have to type it. You can use this icon here. Okay, so everything is one object. If you want to check if it's a completely closed solid or not, you can go under Analyze, and you can go under the Edge tool and Show Edges. And if you're looking at the naked edges, it's going to tell you if there's any edges which are open and not closed. Now if you go on All Edges, it shows you every single edges. So the one we want is naked edges to just check that this is actually a closed off object, technically a solid object, and that's it. Okay, so we have the pen that we want, and now we're going to add the final touches to it, the finishing touches. So the first thing I'll do is make a fillet edge. So I'll just type it in again. I find it quicker to type in all of the commands. So fillet edges with, let's see, the grid is 1, we're probably doing something like 0.3. Something like that. Yep, that came out pretty good. And because I did join everything, I should get good results, and it should stay a closed object, a solid object. Now, a pen usually has lead inside it. So to do the lead, what I'm going to do is go from this view here, the front view, and I'm going to start making a circle from the center, and then we can choose the size, how big we want the lead to be. So I think something like this should do the job. Now we can extrude the curve, and we can also choose the direction, but for now it's fine. We'll just use the regular direction on the Y orientation. And so we can go all the way through the object, and we can separate this part of the object from the wooden part. So the way we would do that here is using the split command. And I think split is here, yeah. Object to split, and this one, okay. The object we're using to cut would be this surface. So now if I delete the cylinder, we can tell that we have a small lead that comes out. It's also happening out here. Now if we want it to be even more realistic, what we can do is undo, and we can use this as a cutting object. So I'll type in trim, and I'm going to use this to trim whatever goes beyond on this side and whatever goes beyond on that side. Now the reason why this could be useful is because now we can use this and that, and we can select the actual cylinder that we just cut, and we can see the entire thing as one solid piece of lead. So typically when you want very realistic results, you have to build it in a realistic way. You have to make the lead one solid, you have to make the wood one solid, you have to make the painted coating around the wood a different solid. So in most cases, that's what I would recommend doing, especially because to get the best possible result from Rhino, you'll probably have to use a plugin or use an entirely different software like Keyshot, where you can import your model and render it out and use different properties, materials, lighting, which usually would give you much, much better results. Now, one thing that's kind of strange here is the lead, the way it touches with this surface. It might create problems because the cylinder basically touches at one point here, and there's tolerances involved with rendering, and right now I think it's going to be within the tolerances where it creates a problem. So we might have to go in and maybe use a line or use a surface and kind of adjust how much of the wood we want to cut away. So this might be better, it might be worse, I don't know. Let's try it out. We can select this and maybe make a planar surface. Planar surface is found up here. It's going to be under the surfaces. I usually just type it in, but it should be under plane. Corner to corner, 3-point, vertical. It's not one of these. Okay. There's a few different ways to do it, like planar curve. Yeah, that's going to be planar surface. Here it is. So you can use planar curves to create a planar surface using the edges of the curve. Okay, I'm going to join all of these, and now we can see it just sticks out. It doesn't look correct. So what I'm going to do is explode the whole thing. So now every surface is its own surface, not a solid anymore. And I'm just going to move this back, enter, move it back from the center, and I'm going to go off of the model so I don't snap into the wrong point, and hold shift. And yeah, because I'm using intersect, here we go. Okay, another way to do it is moving it from the center point to the center point. Yeah, that gives me much better results. And then again, I can use something like this to trim the cylinder and join the cylinder back with this cone protruding and the backside. So now if we wanted to, we can create a new layer and call it the lead, or maybe it's just, yeah, let's call it the lead. And we can assign the lead. In most cases, I think it's better to go under properties and go down here and assign it as part of a layer. And that's typically how people do it. If you're not sure what layer your solid object belongs to, many people like to use this method here. Go under your layers, click on the color, and you can change the color to something else. Now it makes it more obvious what's what, you know, where does this object belong, default, where does this object belong under the lead layer because it's a different color. Now if we want to, we can even add a fillet edge here. Let's just do that just for fun. Fillet edge, we'll do something like 0.05. That should do the job. Yep, good enough. And now to separate the wooden part of the pencil from the outside painted part, let's see, how would we do that? So we can go from this view here. There's a few ways you could do it. Like one of them would be you just find the center, find the height. Okay, so now you have a line, and the line is the correct dimension. I'm going to move it by something specific, like let's say 5 units. And so what that lets me do is move it back 5 units once I'm done creating the shape I want. So if I use an hexagon with 5 sides, Okay, I'm using the wrong mode right now. I should be using either the project or the planer, and planer is here. Project is going to do the job for us here, so I'll just use project with the hexagon, and it's going to keep the whole thing on the same plane no matter what. So that's much better. Okay, so I think it's going to create somewhat of a problem here. Yeah, plus it's 6, not 5, so let's change it back to 6. So you go here, number of sides, 6 sides. Okay, and I think if you rotate the whole thing, yeah, it's not the correct size. So let's scale everything in 2 dimensions from the center to here and there. And again, because we're using the OSNAP and we're using it with the project setting, what's happening is it's staying flat to the x-axis. And so that can be really important when you have a crazy line like this, because I guess my reference point was the tip of a lead and then one of the sides up here. So sometimes it's really important to use the project feature when you're doing stuff like this. And so as you can see, if I move it back and I use the same amount, which was 5 units, now it matches perfectly on top. Another way I could have kind of speed up the modeling process would have been by creating a layer called something like curves or line drawings or something. Like all of your lines would go under this layer, and then obviously you would assign whatever curves you have under the curves. And now you can go back and forth between hiding your curves, your construction curves, and showing your curves or showing your surfaces or even hiding the lead, and just going back and forth between each of your objects or different parts within your scene or within your product, whatever it is you're doing. So I think I used 0.3 for the fillet, so if I use the same thing on the 2D drafting, it should do the same thing. So if I do fillet, this time not fillet edge, but just regular fillet, and if I use the same dimension, which was 0.3, I think I should be able to round it by the same amount. And yeah, it worked. So that's one way to do it. You can replicate the same 2D profile from the front view, and then when you have a nice profile, you can go in, select the entire closed curve, make an offset, and you can offset it by whatever dimensions you want. So in this case, let's do 0.05. It's going to be a very, very small coating of paint. And we can use the same process, just extrude your curve. And let's see what happens if we split this object using this new object. Okay, the result is pretty good, but I don't like the way it's flush with the cylinder. I don't think that looks real. So if we really wanted to make it look good, I think we'll have to do a different method. Let's think about it for a second. So if I move this in, it should give us better results. So I'll do a quick test, and this is something I do a lot. I'm going to copy this part of a pencil, and again I'll use 5 units so it's easy to see what's going on, and I'll make another copy of this. So copy it by 5 units, and I'm holding shift so that everything moves straight. Then I'm going to explode the whole thing because I don't want this, and that's it. Okay. Now one test I want to do is I want to check if I can create a surface in between the two forms. And so one way to do that is simply creating a loft from here to there, and it seems like it's working. Okay. So if that works, then I think we could take the whole thing and we could move it so that it's closer to where we want it to be. Let's see. Yeah, I think that should do the job. So I'm getting it close enough that it's going to look like a step as opposed to being continuous with this line. I just think it's going to look more realistic this way. So now if I do a loft from here to there, okay, I get this type of step. Now, because I know that this repeats exactly 6 times, I don't have to model it 6 times, I can model it once, make an array polar, find the center of the object, and repeat it 6 times. And this is it. So what I'm doing at this point is I'm looking at which part is which, and I'm separating everything so it looks the way it should. And so anything right now that's not selected on this side would be whatever is painted on top of the pen. So I can separate what is selected and call it the wooden part. And I'll make sure that whatever is selected is assigned within this layer. Let's see what's going on here. Wood, yes, properties, and here it is. Okay, again, if we want to, we can change the color and make it something orange. Yeah, that should do the job. Move everything 5 units back where it was before. Okay. And now we've got everything here, and let's see, join all of that and make it a different layer again. This is going to be the paint. And again, I would go under properties and assign it to the paint layer and change the color to something like yellow. Okay, so now we've separated all of the different parts, we've joined everything that is within each of the different layers and made everything smooth, looking the way it should. And this should really help in getting something that just looks better, more realistic. The one thing I forgot to do here is for the lead, I forgot to trim the outside and then join the tip and the cylinder. So I should definitely join everything. And that's it. So now it already looks much better. And if we want to get it rendered, then what I would do is create materials. So I think I'll keep all of the materials for a second video to make it easier for me to upload the video and for you to just take a break and then come back to it for the rendering tutorial. And without further ado, this concludes this one video.